Hi guys, I'm Sam from Calimacil and I'm here today to talk about foam swords. For those that don't know Calimacil that see us today, Calimacil is a top tier brand that manufactures here in Sherbrooke, Canada, foam sword of the highest quality. It's like foam swords or axe or foam replicas, foam weapons that's made to withstand a huge amount of torture that we're going to do here today to do comparison. I also have on the bench today, well, when people says they can get cheap foam props for $50, we have a $50 foam prop. You can see here exact same replicas. You know, for someone that buy on Amazon that just see a picture, thinks they're buying the same thing. All of the non-Calimacil foam prop here that we have is non-branded, made out of sea weapons without brand, without identification, and they're all knockoff of either branded weapons. We have two Witcher fake replicas, and we have one knockoff counterfeit weapons of one of our proprietary weapons. We're going to go through each of those weapons and do comparison, and also what do you get for $50 for foam props, and what do you get when you buy Calimacil, and also why is it that price? I'm going to bring you closer and we're going to use our test dummy over here to see the difference in between and what's going to happen to those weapons, because even if they're advertised mostly in convention center as just cosplay replica, well, you can also find them on the internet as LARP prop, which is really not okay. And we're going to know why soon. First, we have the hunting dagger from Witcher, the official replicas that we, for each of our weapons, has to get approved by CD Projekt. They have a replica in hand before they say yes. We put our names behind that. If there's stuff that, you know, they would like change, we change it, send them replicas again until we're both happy, and then we can have a release. Here we have the foam replicas that's clearly copied from our designs, because us to be able to transform a 3D from a video game where the texture is mostly just an image to a real 3D replicas, there's signs that we can see, like the edge over here, that's on it, the shape of it, the texture that we chose to put on the grip like that, we see those exact same things. So this is coming rip off directly from that. After that, we have, let's continue with Witcher. We have the Eridin swords in two hand, which is obviously the Cali weapons. And see, real licensee will obviously want to make sure people know that it's branded. And then you have the $50 fake replica that have no marking, come with no label, no instruction, nothing shows that it's a Witcher replicas, and it is really hard and really dangerous. And we're going to see about the durability later. And next we have the CPI. That's a 100% original Calimacil design with a head that was hand sculpted from a real piece of wood, but by one of our artisans. And then this is, we can recognize the wooden staff that we made, and also in a version with the leather wrapping to have more grips to it when you don't just want a simple staff. And then we have this, that's just a complete rip-off of our own original design. And we've seen quite a few through the years. And, you know, for someone that just order online, it can be really deceiving. They might even think they're buying a real thing, because sometimes they don't even change. When I've seen it on the internet, on like website like Amazon, it was the exact same name, same description. So for someone who just want to get a deal on, you know, Calimacil weapons, they might think it's that. And it takes year of development and year of, you know, labor to bring, you know, original design to you to get stolen on the internet like that. We're going to start first with the official Calimacil the Witcher 3 replicas, the hunting knife from The Witcher, compared to this no-name product that slightly, a lotly look like with daggers. And what's the big difference? So, you know, when you do an actual, you know, LARP weapons that really, you know, our whole purpose, and also why it's more expensive than just a foam prop that you can find on Halloween store or anything else, is the quality of the material. Our first goal is not to make it, you know, the cheapest possible. Our first goal was to make it, for in case of a replica, the most accurate, but also the safest possible. Because no brand ever want to be associated with something that will hurt their customer base, that could have, you know, that could have big repercussion. We've been doing LARP replica for the past 20 years. So it's 20 years of dedication and improvement in finding the right foam that's going to be the most durable, that's going to be the safest, that's going to be able to withstand years of usage, and also that's not going to hurt, and that's going to be by your side all that times. A lot of you guys also compare our foam replicas with metal replicas. Some of you guys prefer better metal props, but it's completely for a complete different usage. Obviously, you can have an official replica in metal and only leave it on your wall. Well, what we aim for mostly the replicas, so the one that we do branded with different video games and books and, you know, different brands, it's pretty enough so you can leave it on your walls, but it's also safe enough so you can take it and literally play with it, fight with it, you know, for years. We have LARPers that come back after 8-10 years and show us the weapons they've been using still working. You're not going to see that with this. You know, a Cali weapon is composed of a core, the Calimacil foam, that's, you know, property to us that we developed the last 20 years with our close collaborator, and special tips that prevent it from puncturing through the foam and hurting. It's also preventing it from damaging. So I can, in fighting situation, fight an opponent like that. And mind, it's a dagger that I've had for already 4 years. It's not even new, it's my personal Witcher dagger that I'm gladly using right now to showcase you, you know, the durability of those. And obviously slashing, you know, even if you get some metal sharp edge, it can damage it, but, you know, the core is flexible, the tips is not likely to break. Now if we do it with this one, that's going to be a whole other result. And mine, obviously, those first intended is for cosplay only and not fighting. They still can end up being used, because if you see on Amazon, it's like cheap LARP weapons, and you don't know yet, it's your first LARP, you're not sure if you're going to like it, it can be appealing. Let's see the difference. First, I can see that there's not really a core to this. You know, it's too flexible to have a core, and there's literally no flexibility from the tips, which is hugely dangerous if you get someone in the eyes or you stab by mistakes. So we're going to see now how our dummy can survive this. Or if the dagger survived this. So if I would just, you know, see, at first, yep. Can you imagine being someone's chest? A lot of LARPs don't use trusting as a mechanic, but it can even be by mistakes. But even if good thing I'm hitting a metal armor and not someone, because that's just hard plastic. I know, with the low amount of hit that I've did, we're starting to rip the tips already. Oh, and there is a core. So it's a flexible core. Oops. from the sound of it, this seems to have fiberglass. Yep, there is fiberglass. So there is a core that goes all the way to the tips from what we can see. So let's see. We can see here that there is indeed a fiberglass core. What scared me the most in this is the tip over here. As we can see that after a few hits, restarting showing, and there's something really hard right by it. And the foam, when you start, you know, breaking it a bit, it continue and then you can destroy the whole thing. But right here, it's really hard, and I can see actually fiberglass on the tip. So the core goes up to the exact tip, and you're hitting someone with complete fiberglass. And you know, for this one, you know, obviously if I wanted, I could break it. But see, even if I try hard, it doesn't want to break. And the tip, we hit it already multiple times. We can see that it's still standing down. You know, it's still working, it's still usable, and it already have 4 years of usage, and it's still working. The worst part, beside being counterfeit weapon, is really the fact that it's unsafe by a lot. It's now, you know, it could, you know, be mistaken for a Cali weapon. So some LARP might think it's the Witcher dagger, but when you hit someone, even if you don't trust with it, you know, if I hit someone and I poke him in the eye, you're gonna just break his eyes. So we can see for first weapon here that, you know, I could easily break it, and the worst of it is, again, the tip. The handles, you know, it's the handle, it's not the part that you expect to break. You can see that it's a toyish version of our weapons. This can easily be mistaken for a real metal dagger. Well, this one you can see that it's not, and really dangerous. So let's go next to our axes. A lot of people still use metal weapon in, you know, HEMA fighting, reenactments, all those kind of things, and it always comes back to the user to control their hits. But we can't do that with everyone. You know, we can't fight with metal weapons with children. And we have a lot of summer camps that use our weapons for a whole summer. People get trained to use the weapons. It mimic a real weapons without the dangers of breaking a finger or something like that. It's fine, you know, it's just complete different usage, different fan base. And also you can use our replicas for cosplays, and then you're not gonna have to leave it in your car or tie wrap to your scabbards. So next we're gonna go through the axes and a lot of things that explain the price of Cali weapons. Like I said, it's obviously the design cost that goes with it, the price of the foam, and the engineering that goes with it. Because it's not just, you know, foams that pour like that, and that, you know, the only foam is keeping it from breaking apart or poking with the fiberglass core. Inside of this, there's a reinforcement that goes up to here that can withstand, you know, crazy amount of twisting and torture, and maybe if you get hooked to a shield that can, you know, do this kind of things. This just, you know, I'm worried just even turning this a bit, and we haven't hit yet on it. So let's bring you closer and see how those two compare. Well, first with the Cali axe. We can see that what happened when I hit is that, you know, it flex a bit and deflects some of the energy. Some of the energy goes in the shaft as well. And then, you know, you hit, but, you know, it's still manageable. And obviously you need to manage your hip. If I go through this, first, the round grip is really not fun to hold on. And if I hit with it, we can see with just different sounds, it hit even more. And actually dented the armor. If we can see over here, it was not dented first, and it's not the Cali that dented it. I could see it was coming from that one. So if you're like me, you probably want to see what's inside. So can it at least hold in just a quick bend like that? Oops, something happened. It flexed. Whoops. Well, here goes the axe. And from what I can see, the core seemed to be like the other one, really close. Let's see if, oops. Well, I can feel it broken. And yet there's a fiberglass core right up until here. And see, I just twisted it a bit and I hear it breaking. And you know, it's obviously gonna break. And what if, trying to twist it like that, it's broken. And the core goes into here. See, without tools, I can remove this. And like mentioned, this is sadly the fiberglass core that goes up to here and nothing, you know, and that's really dangerous because if the foam give, and see, I literally break that with my hands, no tools, nothing. Same thing with this. No, there's a reinforcement. You can feel something inside because there's, like I said, the inner core that's from flexible urethane reinforced with fiber. That's not gonna break. See, one turn, two turn, and it goes back. You know, that's a real Cali weapon. That's what you're paying for. This, see, let's go see. Yep. And the core is not even in the center. It's right on the edge over here. And I'm not faking it. That I can't. Even if I wanted, you know, I could probably, but the amount of force it will be needed to break that is far from normal and from a normal usage that you would expect from a LARP weapon. I literally just broke that. So if you would expect to save a few bucks and get that, first, you get a knockoff from a Cali weapons. And second, well, you're gonna go through one hit, maybe two, before it breaks. And since we talk about foam swords specifically, and that's what I hear a lot, $250 for foam swords. Well, let's compare a foam swords and a Cali sword and see the difference. You know, the amount of texture we see on this and the level of details of the painting, even if I go closer, and you can also go look on our website, you know, for the high-res picture. If I put that on my wall, even if it's not metal, you have a hell of a good replica, and nobody's gonna notice until they touch it. And if you want to touch it, well, pick it up and fight with it, because it's what it's intended for. LARPers have been using our weapons for 20 years doing it. This, Well, it's all pretty come from the same company because it seems to have the same kind of core. And again, sadly, I can still see a fiberglass core. So, whoops. I hope you get that. I was not trying to break it. I just tried to flex it a bit. And bye. So it could just be in your, oh, yeah, it's worse than I thought. So we have here, guys, oops, and it broke. So I broke metal. All right. So worse than I even thought. And it's not scripted, guys. I didn't know it was there. There's even the metal wires up until the edge of this. So that's why there's weapon check, guys, inside of LARPs and also on Comic-Con. Because you could, you know, pretend to fight someone and you just hit the card. I don't know if you saw how easily it did. And then you're poking someone with a metal wire. Is there one on the other side? Yep. So here goes the guard. And for the blade, I'm going to bring you closer. So as I was reviewing the footage from this video, I realized the scene where I actually test the fake Iridium didn't get shot. So like we discussed, we can see here that the core goes all the way through. Obviously that's a no-go for any weapons that you would strike with, even a cosplay one, because you know there's still a chance that by mistakes you're going to hit someone. So no, that doesn't go through. Like we can see inside, it's, you know, regular typical fiberglass core. You don't want to touch that. That's really hitchy. I'm getting used to it, so yeah, but I still felt it for a few hours later, still itching. It breaks really easy. The foam itself, you know, when it's there's already a piece missing or it's cut somewhere, it's done. So you can pluck it out. So that's, you know, a really bad problem. So, you know, when you see how fast we can do that. With the real swords that have the safety tip like that, you can easily hit, and you know, it's made to withstand that. It's made to also bend that way. Even if you miss your opponent and you just hit it with a tip, it's not gonna give. It's made for this. And the guard itself, see, you know, that's made for this. That's made actually to turn around. It's not made for this, but it can do it. See? Oh no. Yep. Let's all go back. And if it stays like that a bit, you just have to compensate, hold it a bit so it takes back its memory. But see, goes back in shape. And it's made to be, this core is especially made for the Iridium and made to be a bit more flexible on this side and less flexible on that side. So you can, you know, you have a strike face that's harder, and then if you block with it or if you give too much, it's going to bend. And again, you get the real quality seals, and it's going to say on it that it's not a copy. We can see on the edge here the Witcher logo and the Kitty logo on the other side. To really showcase you how strong and durable the Calimacil foam is, I went ahead and got 2 strips of a blade from a Calimacil blade, and then to showcase how, you know, durable this thing is. You know, I'm literally pulling it as strong as I can, and nothing's gonna give. I'm stretching as much as I can. See, and it goes back, not even stretched, exactly like it was when it started. And to showcase also even more, see on this one I cut it right in the middle to showcase that even if, you know, there's already a tear, you know, it might end up giving. But can you see how much? Now it's starting to rip, but I'm already stretching it almost twice like what it's supposed to. No other foam of the market is going to be able to withstand that. See, if it's not, nothing. So if, you know, if it will be on your blade, there's nothing that will make it stretch like that. If it's still attached to your, you know, and it's part of the core, you know, this cut is never going to get worse. And that's going to stay for the rest of the life of your weapon. Even, you know, give it some authenticity. And there's a reason why there's a cut there. But you don't have to be scared that the skin's going to peel away or that it's going to rip off a chunk of it. You know, it's not going to make it more easier to rip a part of it. So we've seen today the difference between a foam sword and a Cali sword. And it makes me understand more when I go in convention and I see those types of weapons that we can find. How we can make people hungry to see weapons that in their eyes is too expensive and they can get a real metal sword for that price. We agree with that. It's possible to get a metal sword, but there's also a lot of crappy metal swords. It doesn't mean that you pay less than that. Well, the only thing you can do is leave it on the wall. That's it. It's not battle ready. For a real battle ready metal sword that you can actually fight with, it's way more expensive. I hope you enjoy what we just did today and that it helped understand a bit more the difference between just a foam swords, the importance of, you know, encouraging brand that actually have good work ethic, that instead of just ripping off some you know brand and just fake it as original, that just work with the companies to make it approved, that make it safe, to make it as accurate as possible. Because if some of you guys thought that those were real metal sword, well, it means we did a good job at making them. Thanks for staying with me on this conversion video beside a Calimacil weapon and foam prop.